Nissan Pathfinder. There is nothing wrong with your Toyota. That is actually the problem. By 2027, a specific set of market, regulatory, and mechanical shifts will quietly reposition what it means to own one. Not dramatically, not overnight, but steadily, and in ways that most current owners are not tracking. If you bought a Toyota in the last 3 years, or if you are planning to, this is worth understanding before the window closes. This is not about fear. It is about timing. And timing, I know in the automotive world, is almost everything. Let us start with what is actually changing. The automotive industry is entering a transition period that does not have a clean parallel in recent history. By 2027, several pressures will converge simultaneously. Emissions regulations in major markets, including the United States, the European Union, and several Asian economies, are tightening in ways that directly affect how manufacturers build, price, and support their vehicles. A hybrid and electric powertrains are no longer optional additions. They are becoming the structural core of most product lines. For Toyota specifically, this matters more than it does for almost any other brand. Toyota spent the last 2 decades positioning the Prius and its hybrid system as proof of engineering leadership. That bet largely paid off. But the industry has now caught up, and in some areas, moved ahead. Toyota's hybrid technology, which was once a clear differentiator, what is now one option among many in a crowded and rapidly evolving field. At the same time, resale value dynamics are beginning to shift. Toyota has historically held its value better than nearly any other brand. That reputation is real, and it was earned. But resale value is not a fixed property of a vehicle. It is a market response to supply, demand, perceived reliability, and available alternatives. When the used car market fills with late-model hybrids from multiple manufacturers, all competing on reliability data and lower running costs, Honda Toyota's premium resale position will face genuine pressure for the first time in a generation. Parts and software dependency add another layer. Newer Toyota models, particularly those built after 2021, integrate significantly more software-driven systems than their predecessors. This is not unique to Toyota. Every major manufacturer is moving in this direction, but it creates a maintenance reality that most buyers raised on older Toyota reliability assumptions are not prepared for. Well, here is the paradox that sits at the center of this conversation. Toyota's reputation was built on a very specific engineering philosophy: reduce complexity, use proven components, prioritize long-term mechanical integrity over short-term feature advantage. The result was a generation of vehicles, particularly the Camry, Corolla, Land Cruiser, and Tacoma from roughly the late 1990s through the early 2010s, that genuinely outperformed expectations over time. Owners reported fewer failures. Mechanics found fewer surprises. The vehicles aged predictably and well. That philosophy produced something rare in manufacturing: justified trust. When someone said a Toyota would run to 200,000 miles without major expense, they were often right, and the data supported them. The newer models are not bad vehicles. That needs to be stated clearly. But they are different vehicles built under different constraints. Modern fuel economy standards require lighter materials and more complex engine management systems. Consumer expectations around technology require integrated screens, connected services, and driver assistance packages that add software dependencies. Competitive pressure requires feature parity with brands that have invested heavily in digital integration. When the result is a Toyota that scores well on initial quality metrics and still leads many reliability surveys, but carries a different long-term cost and complexity profile than the models that built the brand's reputation. The older trust is being applied to a newer product that has not yet fully earned it through the same decades of field data. So who specifically will regret this by 2027? The first group is buyers who purchased Toyota hybrids, particularly RAV4 hybrid, Highlander hybrid, or Venza models without fully understanding battery replacement timelines and costs. Industry trends suggest hybrid battery replacements on these platforms, when needed outside warranty, carry significant costs. Most buyers assume the hybrid system will simply outlast their ownership window. For many, that will be true. But those who drive high annual mileage, live in climates with temperature extremes, or plan to keep their vehicles beyond 10 years are working with a risk profile they may not have fully priced in at purchase. The second group is owners who are banking on historical Toyota resale values without accounting for market saturation. There is a meaningful difference between Toyota holding value because it is genuinely scarce and trusted, versus a market where late-model Toyotas are abundant, alternatives are credible, and buyers have more options than at any previous point. The latter is where the market is heading. And owners planning to sell in the 2026 to 2028 window should be watching this closely rather than assuming the premium will hold as it did in 2021 and 2022. The third group is owners who are treating software-driven maintenance alerts the same way they treated the older, mechanically simpler Toyota maintenance schedules. These are not the same thing. Newer systems flag issues earlier, sometimes conservatively, and require dealer-specific diagnostic tools in ways that older models did not. Now, the cost and frequency of service visits for owners of 2022 and newer models will likely trend higher than the same owners experienced with equivalent age vehicles from a decade earlier. The fourth group is owners who are staying in their vehicles past the optimal point on the depreciation curve because the Toyota brand historically rewarded long-term ownership. That logic still holds for certain older models. For newer models with more complex powertrains and faster evolving software environments, the calculus is different. Holding too long may mean absorbing both the depreciation and the increased maintenance costs of an aging system that was more complex to begin with. What are the owners who are thinking ahead actually doing? Several patterns stand out when you look at buyers who are making deliberate rather than habitual decisions. They are targeting specific model years rather than defaulting to newest. Vehicles that are 1 to 2 years past a major redesign tend to have had early production issues resolved, carry better real-world reliability data, and can often be purchased used with remaining warranty at a meaningful discount to new. For Toyota specifically, this means being cautious about first-year production runs of redesigned platforms. They are reading battery warranty terms carefully. Toyota's hybrid battery warranty varies by model, year, and whether the vehicle qualifies for emissions warranty extensions in certain states. Understanding exactly what is covered, for how long, and what happens at the boundary of that coverage is not optional for anyone planning to own beyond 7 years. They are watching the resale data quarterly rather than relying on assumptions. Tools that track used car market trends by model, trim, and region are widely available and increasingly accurate. Owners who monitor these trends can make exit decisions proactively rather than reacting after value has already moved. They are not over-investing in newest technology trims. Vehicles loaded with the most current driver assistance packages and connected service subscriptions carry the highest depreciation risk as those technologies evolve. Mid-level trims with proven mechanical packages and fewer software dependencies tend to hold value more predictably. Here is the honest bottom line. Toyota is still one of the better choices in the automotive market. The engineering culture that produced decades of reliable vehicles has not disappeared. The company's long-term approach to hybrid development is more serious and more proven than most competitors. None of that has changed. What has changed is the context around the vehicles. The regulatory environment is tightening. The resale market is normalizing. The mechanical simplicity that made older Toyotas exceptional no longer applies in the same way to the current lineup. And the assumptions that serve buyers well for 20 years need to be updated, not abandoned, but updated. The owners who will navigate 2027 well are the ones who are treating Toyota as a good option to be evaluated carefully, rather than a guaranteed outcome to be trusted blindly. Brand loyalty is not a strategy. Understanding your specific model, its actual warranty terms, and its realistic maintenance trajectory, and the market conditions you will be selling into, that is a strategy. What you buy is not the problem. When you buy it might be.